Hey guys, it's April. Welcome to part 2 of my May 2023 yarn haul. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I got everything that I got from Michaels and Hobby Lobby organized into this beautiful new Cubby organizer that I got at Target. Now I will be doing part of this video in a voiceover because I filmed the footage without sound so that I could speed it up. But that's just so that you don't have to sit through an hour and a half of me organizing yarn. As you can see, this Cubby organizer is pretty simple to put together. In fact, the thing that slowed me down the most was not having a power drill, which is what I normally use when I'm putting this together. But I was able to get this assembled in about 30 to 40 minutes by myself at night, and then I filmed the rest of the video the following day for you guys. The final step is kind of adding these little screw covers, which just give the Cubby unit a finished look and really finishes off the piece nicely. So we're at day 2 of this yarn organization project. I have the cube organizer built, so a couple things need to happen here. I'm going to go over to my craft room area, show you what we have going on there. I need to pull out and rearrange a couple things, so I'll do a time lapse while I'm doing that, and then we'll move this Cubby into place and get the whole yarn haul from Michaels and Hobby Lobby organized into that, as well as all of the Pound of Loves that are currently in a tote into this unit. Hopefully they're going to fit, and then that'll free up that tote so I can finally put away my Christmas tree before June gets here. Let's get started. So this is kind of me just cleaning everything out. I have a bunch of grocery store bags with bulky yarn in them, as well as a light that I use for recording. And then you can see I moved the tote out of the way and some power cables. I haven't vacuumed this area in ages, so I gave it a really nice thorough vacuuming. That way the floor's nice and clean before we start adding in our organization unit. So the Cubby was really easy for me to just drag in by myself. It's really light, so that wasn't an issue at all. So once I get it into place, I'll snug it right here up against the baseboard, just using my foot to kind of kick it into place. The first thing I want to do is get all of this Pound of Love out of this tote. I want to put my Christmas tree in this. So you can see this is a pretty big tote. It's almost the whole width of the Cubby, but the cube organizer just kind of packs it all into a much smaller space. So I think it actually turned out nicely. It's a better use of space than this tote was as far as yarn organization goes. Here I'm going to bring in my Hobby Lobby and Michaels bags just to get them ready to organize, but I want to grab some bins to put the yarn into. I really like to have yarn that's going into the bottom of one of these Cubbies be inside of a solid bin. I find that having yarn at the bottom floor level, it's more subject to like dust and dander and like pet hair from the dog shaking. So I really like to have any yarn that's going to be on the very bottom level in a solid organizer. So I'm putting away all of the I Love This yarn, and I'm trying to keep the colors together. So I put the pink print with the pink sparkle yarn, and now I'm putting that rainbow print, I forget what it was called, like fruit salad. And then all I have left is the white yarn, which is going to go into project bins for other projects. So it doesn't need to be put away here because that was bought for projects. Next up is the Karen cakes, and these go in. It holds about 8 Karen cakes per tote, and both the totes and the little pink Cubby units and the Cubby organizer itself all come from Target. And what I love about the fabric Cubbies is that you can fold them up when you're not using them, so they make great whip storage too. So I put the loops and threads in there, and then that worked out good. So the last thing I have is just some more cakes. That's the Mai Tai colorway. That's my absolute favorite so far. And we'll get that sorted out and in there. And I still have some room. So what I did was I went and grabbed, I found another skein of Pound of Love from a project I just finished. I put that away. And then I'm going to grab this big twist yarn that I had that didn't have a home, and put some of it into the top of that black bin, and then put the rest, the wire basket, you can see me slide in there. And then we'll finish up by taking some of this bulky yarn out of these bags and putting them into the cubby organizer. I do need to get these used up, but for now, at least they'll be nicely organized and kind of put away there. So I've got that, and then I've got this teal yarn as well that I'll get into the cubby. So I knew this blue would fit in here if I kind of really squished it down. It's a good thing yarn is compressible. And I left a little piece of it hanging out just so that I would know that it was in there and not forget about it. So we have one bag left over, at least for right now, and then my daughter's yarn basket that still needs to be organized somewhere, someplace, but that's a project for another day. So this is how we're looking now. I was able to move out a bunch of that bulky yarn into storage here. And then I left kind of a little bit hanging out there just so that I would remember that that's in there, because otherwise I'll forget about it. But I really do need to clear out this bulky yarn as one of my next projects. I just haven't done it yet. This is still some leftover bulky. This is a variegated to go with what's down there. And then if you saw my yarn organization video, you may remember that this is my daughter's box of yarn from her room. And these are just some travel mugs that I have. So on this side, we still need to clean this up a little bit, but this is going to be where I store my kind of samples that I'm making. These are just projects I haven't finished, so I'm going to store those in there, and I'll put these into the cake bin where they go, and I may actually separate that out into the different weights, bulky weight number 4 and number 2 and 3. So that'll be in just a minute. Again, here's some samples that I was working up for some tutorials, and my yarn labels. I put these, I got to figure out a better system for that. I don't even know what I'm doing with them, so we'll see. But let's keep going. So we got to get this table moved back into place. It's not heavy, it's just kind of awkward to move, so that's a good thing. Well, not the fact that it's awkward, the fact that it's not heavy. So I had pulled some yarn out of these bins the other day for a project, and so now if I rearrange this mandala yarn, this cake yarn, I knew I could get some extra space in this one bin, so I'll use that to put in the yarn from the Superman bag, which you can see is the variegated bulky. So all that I have left in bags is this one skein of Bernat blanket in tie-dye-ish. So I'm going to throw that in my daughter's bin here and just pop that up against the corner. So let's put this away. So here's how we're looking so far. And we've got that cubby all nice and organized. And I've got this stuff here, has some more organization. I had room freed up there because I had pulled yarn for new projects. So all that's left is to kind of organize this top section. I've got some planters here that used to have plants in them, but those died a long time ago. So I think what I'm going to do is empty those out. And like this owl one is super cute, and I think it would be perfect to hold all of these yarn labels. Get some of these notions organized. Again, I want to get this basket organized and just some of my tutorial projects, get them sorted out. So I got these nice and cleaned out. I actually found a matching one, well, kind of matching to the other white one, so I'll put both of those up. And now I'm going to clean off this section and get her organized. So at this point, we just need to clear everything kind of off of the top of here because it's gotten really dusty and kind of dirty underneath there. So I really want to be able to wipe everything down and then put everything back and actually get it clean. Hindsight 2020, I should have done this and moved the table off to the side, but you know, we all have our great ideas after we've already done something silly. Clean everything with the Clorox. So I'll get this all wiped down and nice and kind of sterilized. And then I realized this windowsill hadn't been cleaned in a while too, with everything sitting kind of in front of it. So I'll clean out the inside of that windowsill and just wipe everything down so it's not as dusty and dirty. At some point I'll need to clean these windows, but again, that's another project for another day. So now we're ready to put everything back and just kind of get it situated on top of the cube organizers. I'll put these labels into the owl like I had planned. And these are some cakes of hobby yarn that I have for a project that I haven't started yet, much like all the other yarn here. The sewing notions, I've just kind of been putting them away without organizing them because I'm not really doing any sewing right now, but I also use this table as my sewing table, so that's why they're out here. On this left side, I'm going to put my cake clips, which are the barrettes I use, as well as my measuring tape, which I use often as well. I realized I should probably clean out this wicker basket, so I start taking everything out of it and just placing it on the table so that I can see what I'm dealing with. That'll help me to organize it better. This blue blanket I had made about 2 years ago and didn't even realize wasn't finished or was even in this basket. So this bin should just be for stuff that needs to be rewound in the winder because I don't always have time to do it. So this is just projects that are either being frogged or otherwise need to be rewound so that the yarn can be reclaimed for other projects. Like here's where I worked up a sample of my double triple ripple. Just as I was playing with the pattern, I was trying to figure it out. And this is one with bigger holes that I was trying to fix. So that just needs to be frogged. And so these scraps that are either just part of samples or can later be worked into other projects. Like this is when I was working my corner to corner shells. And these are tutorials that I just finished. Another concept I was working on. So these can go into something else, or I'm not sure where I'd want to put them. I need like just a little basket. For now I'm going to put them right here and I'll figure that out later. So you wouldn't think that this needs to be rewound, but the way that it's like, I don't know if you can see that, but the way it's all crisscrossy, I don't like it. So I'll rewind these. This is part of a concept. This is part of a concept. Well, not really a concept, it's just a granny square, but you can see like I have my notes from when I'm designing stuff. So I sped this part up just to save you the boredom of me organizing papers and whip bags, but this was just all kind of stuff that was stored in there that needs to be put away, like my project notes and that kind of stuff that could be better organized somewhere else. I think we're coming down the home stretch. We have 2 empty planners that I can try to crochet some flowers and put those in. The cubby's all organized. We just went over that. The bin of yarn that needs to be wound, and then a blocking board and pins for my other foam blocking board. I still need to figure out something for these whips and concepts, but I've got all my labels inside this planner, so now it's actually doing something. I didn't really go through the sewing notions. I'm not really using those right now, so no need to fix it. So all that's left is I have that one blanket that you saw that needs the ends weaved in, and I didn't even realize was in the bottom of that basket. So we'll get those weaved in and have them on the next podcast. So all that's left is to sort this bin, and I'm going to save that project for another day. So all in all, we're looking good. And that's how I organized my yarn stash.